The Woman Who Listened. The stranger introduced herself as Celeste Moreau, and she bought all 7 books Maya had recommended. "I'm staying at the Harborview Inn for a few weeks," Celeste said as Maya wrapped her purchases. "A working retreat of sorts." Maya nodded, relieved when the woman left without further comment about the humming. Perhaps she'd imagined the intensity of that moment. But the next afternoon, Celeste returned. "I finished the first one," she explained, holding up the novel Maya had suggested, a melancholic story about memory and loss. "You were right about it not pretending the world is simple." They talked for 20 minutes about the book, about the author's use of silence as punctuation, about the weight of things left unsaid. Celeste's observations were sharp, insightful. Maya found herself leaning against the counter, forgetting to maintain her careful distance. When Celeste left, she took another book and came back the next day, and the next. By the end of the first week, Maya had stopped pretending these visits were about literature. Celeste would arrive around 3 when the shop was quietest. They'd talk about books, yes, but also about the ocean, about the particular quality of light before storms, about small philosophies and large questions. Maya learned that Celeste had built her fortune in technology, something about data security and privacy protection, that she valued solitude but sometimes felt imprisoned by it, that she'd come to Crescent Bay because she'd needed to remember what it felt like to be unknown. "Though I'm realizing," Celeste said one afternoon, her dark eyes warm with something Maya was afraid to name, that being truly seen might be better than being unknown. Maya's breath caught. She busied herself straightening already straight bookmarks. The second week, Celeste brought coffee. 2 cups from the cafe next door, prepared exactly how Maya liked it, though she'd never mentioned her preference. "You always glance at their menu board around this time, and you look at the vanilla lavender latte the way most people look at something they're denying themselves. You're observant," Maya said, accepting the cup, touched despite herself. "Only about things that matter." The words hung between them, delicate and dangerous. During the third week, rain returned. Not a storm this time, but a soft, steady pour that turned the world gray and intimate. Maya was reshelving in the back corner when she heard Celeste enter. She emerged to find the other woman studying the music section, a small collection Mrs. Chen kept mostly for nostalgia. "Do you play?" Maya asked, though she knew she shouldn't engage with this topic. "Piano, badly. My mother insisted on lessons. I insisted on making it torture for everyone involved." Maya laughed, a real laugh, unguarded. "Rebellious child?" "Stubborn child. There's a difference." Celeste's expression softened. "I didn't want to perform what someone else had written. I wanted to create something my own." "And did you?" "I built a company instead, created systems, structures. It satisfied the same impulse." She paused, then added quietly, "But I've always wondered what I gave up by choosing certainty over art. Art isn't always worth the cost." "You say that like someone who's paid it." The moment stretched. Maya could deflect, change the subject, retreat behind her carefully constructed walls. But Celeste was looking at her with such gentle understanding that the truth slipped out before she could stop it. "I used to sing," Maya whispered. "Professionally. It destroyed me." Celeste moved closer, slow and careful as if approaching something wounded. "Or someone destroyed you with it." Maya's eyes burned. She hadn't cried about Damien, about any of it, in months. She'd locked it all away with her voice. "I heard you that first day, those few notes. I've attended 100 concerts, listened to 1,000 recordings. Nothing has ever sounded like that." "Please don't," Maya managed. "I'm not asking you to perform. I'm not asking you to be anything other than exactly who you are right now." Celeste reached out, then hesitated, her hands suspended between them. "I'm only saying that I hear you, the whole you, and I'm not afraid of it." Maya looked at that outstretched hand, at the woman offering it, at the possibility of being known instead of hidden. Slowly, she took it. Celeste's fingers were warm, steady. They stood there in the quiet bookshop with rain painting the windows, holding on to each other like an answer to a question neither had dared to ask. "There is a path along the cliffs. Would you walk it with me tomorrow, after your shift?" Maya should say no, should maintain distance, should protect herself. "Yes," she said instead.
When walls begin to fall. The cliff walk was treacherous in places. Narrow paths where earth met air with nothing but determination holding them together. Maya had walked it dozens of times alone, finding comfort in the wildness of it. With Celeste beside her, it felt different, more vivid somehow, as if the other woman's presence sharpened the edges of the world. They walked in comfortable silence initially, the ocean crashing far below, gulls wheeling overhead. Celeste moved with surprising confidence over the uneven terrain despite her city polish. "I looked you up," Celeste said eventually. Maya's step faltered. Of course she had. Anyone would. "I read what they said about you," Celeste continued. "The accusations. I also read your interviews from before. The early ones, when you still trusted journalists." She stopped walking, turning to face Maya directly. "Those are two different people. The one you were, and the one they tried to make you. How do you know which was real?" Maya's voice came out brittle. "Because I'm looking at you now. Because I've spent 3 weeks learning how you think, what makes you laugh, the way you consider things before speaking. That person doesn't match their narrative." Maya wrapped herself around herself. "It doesn't matter. The story they told is the one everyone believes." "I don't." 2 words, simple and absolute. Something cracked in Maya's chest. "You don't even know me." "Then let me." Celeste moved closer, close enough that Maya could see gold flecks in her dark eyes. "Let me know you. Not the singer who vanished, not the villain from tabloids. You. Why?" The question came out raw. "Why do you care?" Celeste's hand came up slowly, giving Maya time to retreat. When she didn't, Celeste's fingers brushed her cheek with devastating gentleness. "Because when I walked into that bookshop, I was exhausted from being Celeste Moreau, the entrepreneur, the innovator, the woman who solved everyone's problems. I'd forgotten how to be just a person." Her thumb traced Maya's cheekbone. "And then you hummed those few notes and something in me recognized something in you, like calling to like." Maya's breath shuddered out. "I'm broken. You're healing. There's a difference." The wind picked up, carrying salt spray and the promise of another storm. Maya leaned into Celeste's touch without deciding to, her body making choices her mind was still afraid of. "I don't know how to do this," she admitted. "This? Trust. Be close to someone. Risk anything." Celeste's other hand found Maya's waist, steadying rather than claiming. "We don't have to rush. We don't have to define anything. We can just be. Here. Now. And later? Later will take care of itself." Maya studied the woman before her. Elegant and powerful, and somehow vulnerable in this moment. She thought about the past 3 weeks, how Celeste had appeared daily without pressure, without expectation, how she had brought coffee and conversation and quiet understanding, how she had made Maya want to try again. "I'm afraid," Maya whispered. "I know. I am too." She leaned closer, her forehead coming to rest against Maya's. They stood like that as the sky darkened, breathing the same air, existing in the same space without demand or performance. Just 2 people finding unexpected shelter in each other. When the first raindrops fell, they walked back unhurried, their hands finding each other naturally on the path. At Maya's small rental cottage, a tiny place overlooking the bay, they hesitated at the door. "Would you like to come in?" Maya heard herself ask.
Celeste's answer was soft. Very much. Inside, Maya made tea while Celeste examined her space. It was sparse. Maya had left most of her life behind. But there were books everywhere, and shells collected from beach walks, and a window seat where she had spent countless hours watching the ocean. "It suits you," Celeste said, accepting the mug Maya offered. "Peaceful, but not empty." They sat on the window seat together, watching rain stipple the bay. Maya found herself talking, really talking for the first time in months, about growing up in a small apartment where music was the only luxury, about her first performance at 16, terrified and exhilarated, about the slow build of her career, the joy of connecting with audiences, and then about Damien, how love had blinded her, how betrayal had shattered her. Celeste listened without interruption, her hand warm where it rested on Maya's knee. When Maya's voice finally broke, she simply pulled her close, letting her curl into her shoulder. "He didn't deserve you," she murmured into her hair. "Not your voice, not your heart, not any of it." Maya breathed in the scent of Celeste's perfume, something subtle and expensive that made her think of moonlight on water. "I don't know if I can ever sing again, even if I wanted to." "Then don't. Or do. But make it your choice, not his legacy." They stayed like that as the storm intensified outside, holding each other in the safety of Maya's quiet refuge. When Celeste finally pulled back, her eyes were impossibly tender. "Thank you," she said, "for trusting me with your truth." Maya's hand came up to cup Celeste's face. "Thank you for wanting to know it." The kiss was inevitable and impossible to predict. Soft at first, tentative, a question neither had planned to ask. Then deeper as Maya's fingers threaded into Celeste's hair and Celeste's arms tightened around her waist. It tasted like rain and trust and the terrifying possibility of beginning again. When they finally separated, both breathless, Celeste touched her forehead to Maya's once more. "Stay with me," Maya whispered. "Tonight. Just stay." Celeste's smile was answer enough. They moved to Maya's small bedroom, shedding armor and pretense together. That night, they learned each other with patient hands and whispered discoveries, creating something fragile and fierce in the darkness. For the first time in a year, Maya felt like she might survive after all.
Morning arrived soft and golden, light filtering through sheer curtains to paint patterns across tangled sheets. Maya woke first, her body curved into Celeste's warmth, and for a moment simply existed in the peaceful simplicity of it. Then reality crept in with the sunrise. What was she doing? Celeste would leave eventually, back to her company, her world, her life that had no room for broken singers hiding in bookshops. This was temporary, borrowed time. Maya had survived one devastating loss by choosing numbness. Could she survive another? Celeste stirred, her eyes opening to find Maya watching her. "You're thinking too loudly," she murmured, reaching up to brush hair from Maya's face. "I can practically hear the catastrophizing." "I'm good at it. Had lots of practice." "What if," Celeste said gently, "instead of preparing for endings, we focused on beginnings?" Maya wanted to believe in that possibility, but hope was dangerous for people who'd been shattered. They spent the morning at the cottage, cooking breakfast together in Maya's tiny kitchen, moving around each other with the easy choreography of people learning to fit. Celeste told stories about disastrous board meetings and the absurdity of tech conferences. Maya found herself laughing, genuinely laughing, in ways she'd forgotten were possible. But underneath ran a current of unspoken questions. What happened when Celeste's retreat ended, when she returned to the city and Maya stayed here, hidden and safe and alone? That afternoon at the bookshop, Maya couldn't concentrate. She mixed up orders, recommended a thriller to someone who'd asked for poetry, nearly knocked over an entire display of bookmarks. Mrs. Chen noticed. "You've been different lately. Lighter." The old woman's eyes twinkled knowingly. "That elegant woman who keeps visiting, she's good for you." Maya felt her cheeks warm. "It's not... we're just nothing. I've been married for 52 years. I know what falling in love looks like." The words hit like a physical blow. Love. Was that what this was? This terrifying, exhilarating feeling that made her want to simultaneously run toward and away from Celeste? When Celeste arrived at 3, as always, Maya was restocking the music section. The irony wasn't lost on her. Celeste approached quietly, her presence a comfort Maya had come to crave. "I have something to show you," she said. "Will you come with me?" They drove north along the coast in Celeste's car. Expensive and understated like everything about her. After 20 minutes, Celeste turned down a private road Maya had never noticed, winding through pine trees until they reached a stunning house perched on a cliff edge. "I bought it last week," Celeste explained as they entered. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the ocean. The interior was open, modern, filled with light. Maya's heart hammered. "Are you moving here?" "I'm creating options. Space to breathe." Celeste led her through the house, eventually stopping in a large room at the back. "I thought this could be a studio, soundproofed, private, for whatever creative work happens." The implication hung heavy. Maya walked to the window, looking out at waves crashing against rocks far below. "Why are you doing this?" she asked quietly. Celeste came to stand beside her. "Because I'm tired of living a life measured in quarterly returns and stock prices. Because I want to build something that matters to me, not just to shareholders." She paused, then added softly, "Because I met someone who reminded me that the best things can't be quantified or controlled." Maya turned to face her. "You barely know me." "I know enough. I know you're kind to elderly bookshop owners and patient with tourists asking obvious questions. I know you think deeply before speaking and that you collect cells, but only perfect ones. I know that you've survived something that would have destroyed most people, and you did it by becoming smaller instead of bitter." Celeste took Maya's hands. "I know that 3 weeks ago I was existing, and now I'm living because of you." Tears blurred Maya's vision. "What if I can't be what you need? What if I stay broken? Then we'll be broken together." "Maya, I'm not asking you to perform or to be fixed or to be anything other than yourself." Celeste's voice carried absolute conviction. "But I am asking you to take a risk with me. Not on your voice or your career, on us. On the possibility that we could build something real. People will find out who I am. They'll come looking. The media, the questions, all of it. Let them come. We'll face it together. You don't understand what it was like. You're right, I don't. But I understand being afraid of exposure, of judgment, of having your life dissected by strangers." Celeste stepped closer. "The difference is that this time you won't be alone. You'll have me, my resources, my protection, my stubborn refusal to let anyone hurt you again." Maya thought about the past year of hiding, of silence, of safety that felt more like suffocation. About the past 3 weeks of rediscovering herself through Celeste's eyes. About last night, about this morning, about the terrifying hope building in her chest. "I'm scared," she admitted. "Good, so am I. Let's be scared together." Maya looked at this remarkable woman who'd walked into a bookshop during a storm and somehow seen past all her defenses, who offered not rescue, but partnership, not demands, but possibilities. "Okay," Maya whispered. "Okay." Celeste's smile was radiant. She pulled Maya into her arms, holding her tight against the future rushing toward them both. That evening, they sat on the empty floor of Celeste's new house, sharing wine and takeout, planning impossible things. Maya found herself describing her old apartment in the city, the friends she'd abandoned, the life she'd fled. "I could go back," she said slowly, testing the words. "Not to perform, not yet, maybe not ever, but to stop hiding, to reclaim my own story." "When you're ready," Celeste agreed. No pressure, no timeline. But Maya could feel something shifting inside her. The fear wasn't gone, but it no longer felt paralyzing. With Celeste beside her, the world seemed less like a threat and more like a possibility. "Come back with me next week," Celeste said. "To the city. Stay at my place. Let's see what life looks like when we're not hiding in a beautiful refuge." Maya's instinct screamed to refuse, to cling to safety. But she looked at Celeste, at the woman who'd walked into a bookshop during a storm and somehow seen past all her defenses, who offered not rescue, but partnership, not demands, but possibilities. Yes. They sealed the decision with a kiss that tasted like courage and wine, and the future neither could predict, but both were willing to risk.
The silence she chose. The last time Maya Sorel sang in public, 3,000 people rose to their feet. The last time she sang in private, she was alone in a hotel room, watching her career dissolve on a screen. Former rising star Maya Sorel accused of unprofessional behavior by renowned producer Damien Cross. Sources claim volatile personality made her impossible to work with. The light they created together. The week before they left felt like existing in a bubble. Maya gave notice at the bookshop. Mrs. Chen hugged her tightly and whispered, "Go live, child. You've grieved long enough." She packed her few belongings, said goodbye to the cottage that had sheltered her, walked the cliff path one last time. Celeste handled logistics with quiet efficiency, arranging movers for the things Maya wanted to keep, securing her apartment in the city, making it clear that Maya had her own space if she needed it. No assumptions, no pressure, just support. The night before they left, they returned to the new house. It was still empty, echoing with potential. Celeste had brought blankets and candles, creating an island of warmth in the vast living room. "I need to tell you something," Maya said, as they lay tangled together, ocean sounds drifting through open windows. "Before we do this." Celeste propped herself up on one elbow, attentive. "I don't know if I'll ever sing publicly again. The thought of it still makes me want to crawl out of my skin." Maya traced patterns on Celeste's shoulder. "But lately, when I'm alone, I've started humming again. Small things, nothing important. But it's coming back." "That's beautiful," Celeste murmured. "I wanted you to know because I don't want you hoping for some triumphant comeback that might never happen. If you're with me, you're with the bookshop girl, not the performer I used to be." Celeste caught Maya's hand, pressing a kiss to her palm. "I fell for the woman who hums while shelving poetry and takes her coffee with lavender. Everything else is just details." They made love slowly that night, memorizing each other in candlelight, creating memories to sustain them through whatever came next. The flight to the city felt surreal. Maya kept her head down in the airport, but no one looked twice. She was just another passenger in comfortable clothes, holding hands with an elegant woman in designer sunglasses. Celeste's penthouse was stunning, all clean lines and city views. She'd prepared the guest room, but made it clear Maya was welcome wherever she felt comfortable. They spent the first few days existing in careful domesticity, learning how their relationship translated to new space. On the fourth day, Celeste had a business meeting she couldn't avoid. Maya found herself alone in the penthouse, restless and overwhelmed by the city sounds after months of ocean quiet. She wandered into Celeste's home office, a room she'd been told she was welcome in. While looking for a book on the shelves, she found a folder marked with her name. Inside were printouts, articles about her disappearance, analysis pieces questioning the accusations against her, a lawyer's assessment of her legal options against Damien, evidence of financial fraud meticulously documented. Celeste had been investigating, building a case, preparing to fight for Maya before they'd even kissed. When Celeste returned that evening, Maya was sitting in the living room, folder in hand. "I found this," she said quietly. Celeste's expression shifted, caught between apology and defiance. "I hired an investigator after the first week. I needed to know the truth." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't want you to feel pressured or obligated. Those are yours if you want them. Proof that he lied, that you could clear your name. But it's your choice, no expectations." Maya stared at the evidence of her vindication, all the proof she'd thought impossible to gather. "You did this for me. I did it because it was right, because he shouldn't get away with destroying you." Something fierce and bright ignited in Maya's chest. For a year, she'd accepted her destruction as inevitable. But looking at Celeste, at this woman who'd armed her with truth and power and choice, Maya felt something she'd thought lost forever. Fight. "I want to do it," she said. "I want to go public. Not to perform, not yet, but to tell my story, the real one." Celeste's smile was proud and tender. "Then we'll do it together." They spent the next week preparing. Celeste connected Maya with a reputation management team and a lawyer who actually listened. Maya drafted a statement, not an apology or a plea, but a clear account of what happened. The day before the planned release, Celeste suggested a walk.
They went to a private rooftop garden few people knew about, high above the city chaos. "Whatever happens tomorrow," Celeste said, "however the world reacts, I want you to know something." She took both Maya's hands. "You've already won. You survived. You healed. You learned to trust again. Everything else is just noise." Maya pulled her close, kissing her with all the gratitude and love and terror she felt. "Thank you for finding me. Thank you for letting yourself be found." The next morning, Maya's statement went live on social media along with evidence of Damien's fraud. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Her name trended within hours. Damien's company issued frantic denials. Former colleagues began reaching out with support and apologies. And someone captured a photo, Maya and Celeste leaving the lawyer's office, hands intertwined, Maya smiling genuinely for the first time in a year. That photo went viral faster than the statement. Vanished singer Maya Sorrell resurfaces with tech mogul Celeste Moreau. Romance or collaboration? Both. The speculation was intense, invasive, exactly what Maya had feared. But sitting in Celeste's penthouse, watching the internet lose its mind, she felt strangely calm. "They'll dig into everything," she said. "Us, my past, your business, it's going to be brutal." "Let them dig," Celeste replied, pulling Maya into her lap. "They won't find anything we're ashamed of." Maya's phone exploded with messages, interview requests, former bandmates apologizing, record labels making offers. Through it all, Celeste remained steady, helping Maya filter and decide, never pushing, always supporting. On the third day, a video surfaced, security footage from the bookshop, showing Maya humming while shelving books. Someone had recognized her months ago and saved it, waiting for the right moment to monetize her rediscovery. Maya watched herself on screen, so small and hidden, and felt immense compassion for that frightened woman. "That's not me anymore," she said softly. "No," Celeste agreed. "You're so much more now." 2 weeks later, Maya agreed to one interview with a journalist known for depth and respect. She told her story fully, clearly, without apology or embellishment. She talked about betrayal and survival and the woman who'd helped her remember her own strength. When asked if she'd perform again, Maya smiled. "Maybe, when I'm ready, on my terms, but right now I'm focused on living, not performing." The interview went viral for different reasons than the scandal had. People connected with her vulnerability, her honesty, her refusal to be defined by someone else's narrative. 3 months later, on a quiet evening in Celeste's cliff house in Crescent Bay, Maya sat at a piano they had installed in the soundproofed room. Celeste was reading nearby, giving her space but offering presence. Maya's fingers found the keys tentatively. She played a few notes, then a few more. And then, so softly Celeste almost missed it, she began to sing. Not a performance, not a statement, just sound, pure and honest, and hers. Celeste looked up, eyes bright with unshed tears. Maya met her gaze and smiled, continuing the melody, a song she'd written in her head over the past months about storms and refuge and love that heals rather than harms. When she finished, Celeste crossed the room and wrapped her arms around Maya from behind. "That was incredible," she whispered against Maya's hair. "It was for you, just for you. I'm honored." They sat like that for a long time, wrapped in each other and music and the life they'd built from broken pieces. Maya never did a comeback tour. She never needed to. She wrote songs when the mood struck, shared some privately, kept some sacred. She and Celeste split their time between the city and Crescent Bay, building a life measured in moments rather than milestones. Sometimes Maya performed at small local venues, unannounced and unpressured. Sometimes she worked in the bookshop when Mrs. Chen needed help, finding joy in the quiet again. Sometimes she simply existed, healing and growing, and becoming someone she could recognize in the mirror. The media eventually moved on to other stories. Damien faced consequences. Maya's reputation was restored. But none of that mattered as much as the morning she woke up in Celeste's arms and realized she was no longer running from her past or hiding from her future. She was simply living, loving, singing when she wanted to, silent when she needed to be. Whole at last, in ways that had nothing to do with spotlights or redemption arcs. Just a woman who'd been lost and found, not by fame or vindication, but by someone who'd seen her in a bookshop during a storm and chosen to stay. The end.